If you're in the market for a new luxury four-seater convertible, it doesn't get much better than a BMW 4 Series. This has long been the quintessential luxury drop top for years, and for 2022, the 4 Series convertible is completely redesigned, now based off of the current generation 4 Series coupe. This is an all-new vehicle with new styling on the outside, a new interior, and updated engines underneath the hood. And as you can see, it adopts the same corporate, controversial bucktooth front end that we saw on the 4 Series coupe, but the big question I want to answer is if you guys can get past the front end, how does this new 4 Series convertible stack up? Stay tuned to find out. Now, the first thing I want to talk about, obviously, is this power retractable soft top. It's been 15 years since BMW had a soft top on their 4 Series or 3 Series convertible. And it's a controversial change, but let me show you guys how the top goes up and down. It's pretty simple to do. In fact, the top itself is very well lined. This one here is the Moonlight Black top, which means it's $250 extra, and it also gives you a slight grayish color to it. When you turn the vehicle on here, there's a button here on the center console. Just push and hold this button. And it takes about 18 seconds, and you can do this while the vehicle is moving at speeds of up to 31 miles an hour. As you can see, it's pretty quick, and it does a really cool party trick how the rear deck opens up. And it's pretty fast. As you can see, that ding tells you that the vehicle is done. And then if you want, you can close this door over here and roll up all the windows. And it gives you a nice little drop top look to it with a wind deflector that you can also add. To put the top back up, just do the same procedure. Pull this same switch, and the whole process is repeated, and it takes, again, about 18 seconds. So let's go ahead and walk around the exterior of the new 4 Series convertible, because just like the coupe, the front end is very controversial. In fact, it looks practically identical. If you stare at the car from this angle, you can't necessarily tell it's a convertible. Now, I've seen this grille, of course, on the new M3 and the M4. I think the M version cars look a little bit better. There's something about this vehicle here with that terrible New Jersey plate in the center that's kind of making the front end look even more terrible. You can see my tester is missing like a shadow line package, which would black out the already dark chrome bits that you see along the grille and make them completely black. This would probably look better, especially with this dark Dravit gray exterior. My tester has the upgraded BMW laser headlights, which look really cool. You have some functional grille openings here. These over here are covered with an active grille shutter. You can see this opens up to let in more air when the vehicle needs it, or it'll close it for aerodynamics. Overall, I do think the grille is definitely starting to grow on me. In fact, it literally looks like it grows every time I see a new BMW with these grills. Although now I've noticed when I see the older BMW generations with the smaller grills, they definitely don't look quite as aggressive. So perhaps maybe I'll start to like this grill even more. BMW just showed us the 4 Series Grand Coupe, which I haven't seen in person yet, but in the photos, it looks particularly aggressive, and I think it might be the best looking of the entire 4 Series lineup. Now let's walk around the vehicle, because this is the M440i with rear-wheel drive. So this is not an all-wheel drive version, but I love this color combination here. When you look at it from this angle, this is definitely a classic rear drive proportioned sports car or two-door convertible. I like the wheels that my tester has. These are the 19-inch bi-color wheels with a staggered setup with the M Sport brakes. These are around a $1,000 option if you guys want to go for these upgraded wheels. The car has Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires, so great tire choice. And the overall length at 188 inches long hasn't changed from the coupe. This is around 4 inches longer than a Mercedes-AMG C43. So this is one of the larger entries in the segment. This vehicle does look significantly better when you look at it from the rear angle as opposed to the front. You can see my tester has the $250 optional top, which kind of gives it this really cool denim look. You can see you have a glass rear window. The top itself is made with a really high quality canvas material. It does feel very sturdy and premium, and I actually think it looks better versus the last hardtop version of the 4 Series that I saw for the previous generation. But let me know in the comments below if you guys prefer the soft or the hardtop. I definitely like the soft top look. At the rear, you can see you have full LED taillights with a kind of Lexus-like look to the rear. The exhaust system you can see here also is nicely integrated into the rear diffuser, and this is the M440i, so we have that turbocharged straight six. I'll go ahead and fire it up so you guys can hear how it sounds. If you guys have an extra 10 grand to spend, you may as well take the option for that straight 6. It sounds a lot better than the 4-cylinder. Now, the trunk capacity did increase slightly this year because of the soft top, although it's still pretty small at only 9 cubic feet of space. BMW says you could fold down, or you could get up to 13 cubic feet, although I don't see how, because the top definitely takes up space. The seats also don't fold down in a 60/40 manner. There is a little bit of storage underneath the top, and then if you look underneath the floor over here, which doesn't really allow you to kind of get your hand in there to open it, you can see the battery is back here, but there's not really any underfloor storage underneath that rear floor. So let's move on to the interior of the new M440i Convertible. I want to first show you guys the key fob. You can see this is the standard key fob that you find on a lot of BMW products. Their intelligent key does come included with this car, but my tester is missing remote start for an additional $300, but you can use the digital key function, which they give you a BMW key card, and you could theoretically lock and unlock the car with just the key card. Now, as I approach the vehicle, first of all, look at this interior. Oh my gosh. That back seat in the red, the front seats with the red, the dark gray wood grain, it certainly looks very appealing, although the dash isn't that impressive looking. It's got two 12-inch displays, but as I touch the door handle here and open the door, you can see the red leather is kind of carried over on the door panels, and then this particular one here has the executive package, which means it has the Sensitech stitching on the dash and on the door panels. The seats themselves, you can see here, are adjustable in like 16 different ways. You do have a neck warmer here for an additional $650, but annoyingly, ventilated seats are not available on this particular interior because of the red. If you want vented seats, you have to go for a black interior, which really pisses me off, because why in the hell would you want a black interior for a drop top convertible? I would go with the red. I'd go with the lighter color options, because the sun's gonna be baking this interior, especially if you guys live in hotter climates, which is where you're gonna be driving this vehicle and purchasing a car is in the warmer climates. Now, getting inside the interior, you can see the step-in height is definitely low, and then when I shut the door has a hefty sound to it, and when you shut the door, you can see this little arm gives you your seatbelt, so you don't have to reach over super far to actually grab the seatbelt. Now, to start the vehicle up, the button to fire it up is down here by the shifter in typical BMW fashion. And because this is a 48-volt mild hybrid system, it doesn't have a traditional start or hiccup noise because of that electrical system. And when you put the vehicle into sport here, you can hear the exhaust. That sounds fantastic. So I'm gonna have fun driving this vehicle with the top down all week, but I'll just briefly go over the interior, because if you guys have seen my review on the 3 Series and the 4 Series coupe, this is practically identical with some differences. My tester here has the gray natural grain finish wood, which does look good with the aluminum trim. You've got BMW's iDrive 7.0 here with a 12-inch display here and a 12-inch display here. It does look nice. This doesn't have the gesture controls, though. For some reason, this particular one doesn't have it. It's supposed to have it with the executive premium package, but you can see it does have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is fantastic. The screen itself, you can see, is pretty responsive. iDrive 7.0 has gotten a lot better. It does include things like over-the-air updates, although I have seen the newest iDrive 8 system in the new iX and the i4, so that's going to be the next generation that'll have even a larger display. I believe BMW has gone to like a 15-inch display versus this 12-inch. But you can see with the soft touch dash, the wood grain, the aluminum look trim, the wood here, their wireless phone chargers over there, cup holders and whatnot, and you have these really nice door panels here. The window control switches don't feel quite as high quality as the Audi and Mercedes products that it competes with. You have 2-person memory seats over here, and then down here on this area you have some storage. This is a soft touch plastic, although it could be a little bit softer, and then this steering wheel is just a manual tilt telescoping. Some competitors offer a full power adjustable wheel. The steering wheel itself has really fat, thick bolstering extensions, but I kind of wish it was a flat bottom design, but it looks good. I think this is pretty comfortable for me. I do like the way the steering wheel looks and the way it feels. Now, my tester for $850 has the Harman Kardon stereo, which is disappointing sounding. That is the highest end stereo you can get in this car. BMW does not offer their Bowers & Wilkins systems you can find in their upper end models. So that's something to keep in mind. If you put the vehicle into reverse, you can see there's your full 360 camera, which has decent resolution and graphics. It also has a backup assistance where it'll remember how you pulled into a parking spot, and then it'll also back you out of that spot in the same way. You can see there's dual zone climate control over here. This little shifter here controls the 8-speed auto. You push this little button to the side to kick it all the way back into drive, push it forward for reverse. iDrive also has some a controller knob here if you don't want to use the touchscreen, although I highly recommend using the touchscreen. There's the embedded GPS in this car, which works well. It's nothing really to run home about. The Audi system, I believe, has a better looking map display. And then over here, you can see this is to control the top operation up and down. You have your heated neck warmer over here, which offers 3 different levels. And then your heated seat controls are right here. Again, this car is missing the cooled seats. Opening this up, you can see the center console is a pretty decent size. And I do find the seats to be pretty comfortable and supportive. They do have an adjustable bolster right here, which will squeeze you if you guys want to do a little bit more aggressive driving. And then over here, you can see the glove box is a relatively decent size. It's stamped and it's lined with felt. So overall, the cabin in the front seat is fine. It just doesn't scream amazing, uber, like ultra luxury, and tech like some of the Mercedes and Audi competition does. So I hope BMW eventually refreshes this interior and updates it with their iDrive 8.0 that I've seen in their newest products. Hopping into the back seat, I'm going to show you guys really quick what that's like. Now, first of all, with this power seat option here, there's a little handle that you kind of just flip up. And when you flip that seat up, you can see the seat automatically starts to move forward. It's electric, so it does take a little bit of time for the seat to move forward, but BMW says you get around 32.5 inches of legroom back here, which is not bad. I'm actually gonna get back here and show you guys what the space is like. With the top up, it definitely is a little easier to get back here. If I put the seat back, you can see the seat automatically starts to move back. And at 5'7", let's hope it doesn't crush my legs. It kind of does. It's got a sensor where it hits the back of my legs and then stops. But you can see back here, once you're back here, if you guys are a wider frame, these seats are a little bit narrow. For me, it's perfectly fine. This does look like an armrest, but it's actually not an armrest. This is kind of like a little storage area there for the wind deflector. But material quality back here is actually good. You have more of the soft touch. You have a nice little leather stitch area here. This is a really nice cozy area. Once you're back here, it's actually not bad. It's pretty comfortable. There's also rear seat air vents, your own set of climate controls, 2 USB ports, and a decent amount of storage back here. Actually, there's 2 cup holders in the door pockets, and then there's 2 right here in the center. So the back seat's actually not bad. This is definitely a true 4-seater convertible as long as you're not over 6 feet tall, because I imagine the headroom and the legroom would be tight at that point. Now, under the hood of the latest 4 Series convertible, BMW is going to offer a choice of 2 different powertrains and, of course, an M4 convertible later on. This one here that I'm showing you is right in the middle between the 430i and, of course, the M4 convertible. And just like the 2-door coupe, this is the company's 3-liter single turbo twin scroll designed straight 6-cylinder engine. So this is one of the best engines that you can find in the segment. It is also augmented by the company's 48-volt mild hybrid system, which helps with the start-stop. It helps to improve the fuel economy. And the power figures haven't been changed. It's rated at 382 horsepower, which is underrated by BMW standards, and 369 pound-feet of torque. It all goes out through an 8-speed automatic torque converter transmission only. There is no manual available for this particular model. Now, this vehicle here is rear-wheel drive, but you can add xDrive all-wheel drive for around $2,000 extra. The rear drive version is slightly lighter, but it also is slightly slower. BMW says you'll get to 60 in around 5 seconds versus 4.7 seconds for the all-wheel drive version. And fuel economy, in case you guys are wondering, is rated to get 23 in the city and 31 on the highway, around 26 combined. It's about a 2 mpg reduction versus the coupe version of this car. You can blame that on the weight, because this car, as it sits, weighs in at a little over 4,100 pounds, or around 300 pounds heavier than the last 2-door coupe that I tested. So this is the rear drive model with nearly 400 horsepower. And the first thing I want to try, let's do a 0 to 60. This car should get to 60 in around 5 seconds. That's what BMW claims. It does have launch control, even though this is rear drive. And I just got 4.4 seconds there. That is very impressive, considering this thing was squealing the tires a little bit. Oh, it sounds really good though. Plenty of power for a vehicle like this. The all-wheel drive model should be even quicker. That's what's crazy about this kind of a car, but let's see if I can do it a little bit better there. I didn't get the launch control to actually activate here. And you know what, there I actually got a slightly worse time, 4.8 seconds, which BMW says 5 seconds for this car, so 4.8, I'll go ahead and take this number. I'll take the 4.4 number. That was a pretty impressive time, and there was a time where that was BMW M performance territory, so even though this car is rear-wheel drive, it puts the power down really well. I'm actually genuinely surprised at how quick this car is. It's got a very smooth shifting 8-speed automatic. It's got paddles on the wheel as well, and when you pull the paddle, you can hear it rev matches. Although the noise could be louder. It doesn't have the same kind of burbles and pops that you have from like a Toyota Supra. It seems like BMW has tuned that out of the exhaust system for luxury car reasons, obviously. But you should be able to hear the engine even more with the roof down, so I do want to plan to put the roof down, but compared to the last coupe, this car actually is pretty quiet on the inside. I'm genuinely surprised at how well insulated this top is. It does a good job of keeping the noise out, even though they've switched back to a soft top, and it almost feels like I'm in a hard top right now because of the level of isolation this car has, the level of noise suppression. And obviously, even though it's starting to rain, we have to try driving with the roof down, so we're gonna do that real quick. Oh God, this is bad. Oh God, this is bad. It's really starting to come down over here. Okay, let's hold on a second. Fucking hell. Yeah, no, just kidding. It's fucking raining over here. No thanks. It wasn't raining this bad earlier, but. And yeah, we were gonna try it with the roof down until it really started to come down in terms of the rain. We'll see if I can find a little pocket where it's not raining so bad. But as you guys can see, I got a little wet when I tried to put the roof down. That's the problem with the storms that you have in the summertime here on the East Coast. It'll just randomly rain all of a sudden, and you have to deal with the bad weather. But now that I have the top back up, let's go ahead and drive this car around a little bit more with the top down, or the top up, because I want to mention again, I've closed the window where I don't have to have it cracked to do a 0 to 60, and it's actually really quiet in here. It's very coupe-like. The material that they use is a very high quality material, and it almost feels like I'm in a hardtop model. I took this out on the highway with the roof up, and it has the similar noise levels to the last coupe that I drove. So even though they've switched over to a soft top, back to a soft top, the hardtop model gives you a really good amount, or the soft top model actually gives you a good amount of isolation from the elements. So you don't really lose much. Obviously on the outside, the aesthetics are different, but this car drives every bit as good as the coupe, although you do feel the extra weight. As I mentioned earlier, this car is around 300 pounds heavier, and it is quite noticeable when you're driving around in the new 4 Series convertible. You can see we're coming up to this area here, and it's not raining, annoyingly, so I will put the roof down. The roof does give you the ability to put it down at up to 30 miles an hour, which is almost 3 times the speed of the hardtop version. So let's go ahead and put the roof down now that we've slowed down to a crawl here. You just push this button right here, and you can see I'm going about 20 miles an hour right now, and the roof is coming down. And it's not raining over here, thank God. It's pretty quick too, it takes about 18 seconds. The car tells you when the roof is done. And now that the roof is down, you can really hear, or you can really enjoy the whole reason why you bought the convertible version of this car. The engine in general, the exhaust is so much more clear over here. Ooh, a little bit of burble there. And you can also hear the turbo whistle noise from the this twin power turbo straight 6. It's a really nice sound. I just wanted the exhaust to be a little louder. It's a tad too quiet. I wanted it to be a little bit more bark with the burbles and the crackles, but BMW wanted to just let you hear that straight 6 snarl, which is fine. I like the snarl with the slight pops. But as I go around this corner here, this car definitely feels more like a boulevard cruiser. It handles well, the steering is good, but you also get a sense that the car doesn't like being pushed around corners because it's also very heavy. It feels like it adds a lot of weight. I mean, 300 pounds of additional weight is nothing to sneeze at. And this car weighs over 4,000 pounds. It's 4,100 pounds, so it's certainly no lightweight. But it's got plenty of power. I would probably recommend all-wheel drive if you guys live in an area that's gonna get rain, it's gonna get snow. The rear drive version obviously actually puts the power down pretty well. You guys saw 4.4 seconds is impressive. But the whole reason why you bought this car is just that wind in your hair feeling, like the openness that you get with this vehicle. And I'm thoroughly enjoying my time with this car. It reminds me so much why I love convertibles. Convertibles are just so joyful to drive. If you want to forget about all your worries and just go for a nice cruise, this is the one you're going to want to be in. And the back seat is surprisingly usable for average size adults. You can use it as trunk space. The trunk is a little bit small. I expected more space considering they dumped the hardtop. But I'm just genuinely impressed. The ride quality is also good. My tester has the adaptive dampers. Even though I have it in Sport Plus right now, I can go into the Sport Individual mode where I have the suspension in comfort, and you really notice the difference in comfort. The steering gets a little bit lighter in comfort as well. And of course, visibility is okay, although I literally just lost that Lexus in my blind spot here because that pillar is so massive. So something to get used to there. But as you drive the car, you're gonna start to get used to it, obviously. You can hear the slight chirp and that turbo noise. So much fun. My tester is missing the driver assistance professional package, so I don't even have adaptive cruise control. I do have auto braking, auto emergency braking, but that's kind of an insult considering the price. And for this price, I expected it to have ventilated seats. Yes, I have the neck warmer, I have a heated steering wheel, I have heated seats, but if you want ventilated seats, you have to give up any color leather except black. BMW will sell you the ventilated seats as long as you get black, basically. You have to get the black interior, so this beautiful red that I'm sitting in isn't available with ventilated seats, which really annoys me. It annoys me until I put my foot down and hear that engine. And it reminds me that gasoline engines still have their place because of that sound, that straight six sound BMW is very famous for, and I'm very impressed with this car. I would probably choose over the Audi equivalent and the Mercedes just because of the engine. The Audi is slightly more appealing looks-wise, but the engine of this car is perfection. It's the best engine in this segment because it's a straight six and not a V6. And in my weeks for the testing, I got pretty decent gas mileage, around 20 miles to the gallon combined, which is excellent because of that 48-volt mild hybrid system, because of the transmission tuning. It's just a really good overall package that makes you feel like you bought a car that is designed for boulevard cruising with the occasional back road usage, and you have a decent back seat to carry average size adults in. So after spending a week with the all-new 4 Series convertible, once you get past that horrible grille, which you can augment by adding a European front plate, the US plate just makes it look terrible. Walking around this vehicle and just driving it for the week, it really reminds me why I love convertibles so much. This car has really great proportions from this angle. I love the driving dynamics. I love the engine, although I do wish the exhaust was a little bit louder. I like the interior. It's comfortable and offers plenty of room, but the tech in it is pretty much just average. BMW needs to do something with its interior to make this car feel like it's a lot more modern. But from this angle here, you can see with the top down, I actually got a good amount of stairs in this car. It's a really attractive looking vehicle from this angle, and the M440i has a lot to like. I mean, yes, it's not technically an M4, but with 0 to 60 in the mid to high 4-second range, a smooth shifting automatic, the availability of all-wheel drive, and a price that is a little bit more reasonable than M car, although this is definitely not cheap. If you guys are looking to buy a 4 Series convertible, these start at around $54,000 for the base version, around $9,000 more expensive than the coupe. So it's going to cost you the most money in the 4 Series family to get the 2-door drop-top version of this car. If you guys want the M440i, which is in the middle, this car is around 11 grand more expensive than a 430i. So it's a pretty hefty charge to go with the straight 6-cylinder engine, but if you have the money, I definitely recommend going for the straight 6 because of that sound and for the performance. An M version of this car is going to cost roughly $10,000 more whenever that vehicle does go on sale. My tester, of course, with all the options that it has, stickers for just under $75,000, which is ridiculously expensive because it's still missing things like ventilated seats, which really annoys me how it doesn't have that, and adaptive cruise control. If you added those options in and gave up the red leather seats, which I love, and stick with black seats, this car could be optioned up to around $77,000, $78,000, which is ridiculously expensive, but this offers the same kind of room and performance from a 6 Series from about 20 years ago, and that's kind of what makes the M440i so appealing. So in this segment of drop-top luxury 4-seater convertibles, this is now probably one of my favorites as long as you can get past the grille and get it with the right options. But with all that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview here on the 2022 BMW M440i Convertible. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.